Welcome back. All right, the two emotions I think we're going to talk about right now are fear and anger. And if you need to, go get yourself a drink of water because we need to flush through the emotions and the vibrations that the words that I was giving you are installing in your body. Okay, they're like slivers, hitting you. Allow yourself to shift, allow yourself to yawn, allow yourself to put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly while you're doing this, or even take a moment and tap out your cortices. All right. Oh, I got a yawn. Whew. Remember, yawning is the second best exercise you can give your body. All right, let's go from here. So let me bring up the picture. And if you're bored of the rainbow, let's see if I have a different one. There is me. There is me with my rainbow. Can you see that there? That's me at one of my Transformational Tuesdays giving a talk. All right. So the rainbow of emotions. If you look, let me see, can I make the cursor come up here? We did grief over here. Now the yellow stripe, and don't put significance on the yellow, really. It was just my graphic designer and I wanting a rainbow color. The fear vibrates at 100 megahertz. So the energy of worry, the energy of doubt, the energy of drama, okay? How many people do we know that create a lot of drama in their life? It's like they're not using their empathic abilities for creating positive things. They're sort of hiding it behind their back, and it's just sort of firing off absolutely everywhere. So allow yourself to think for a moment of some situation that made you feel fearful. For me, I always had the fear as a child of becoming a bag person. That was my biggest fear in the world. And you think, why would a 6 or a 7 or a 12-year-old be afraid of being a bag person? But that was locked in my cellular memory from when my parents had taken me on a holiday to New York. It was 90-degree weather. My father was a smoker in the car. And in those days, cars were not air conditioned. And I was throwing up all over the back seat of the car because he was a smoker and the windows were rolled up. Not very considerate. Nowadays, it's against the law, but back then it wasn't. And my father hauled me out of the car and dropped me in Central Park with my mother, literally pulled me out by the arm and left me standing there, and he drove away. That was my memory. That was my 6-year-old memory of the occurrences. That memory came up when I was 45 years old in a body talk session, and I had a frozen shoulder. And that memory came up, and I didn't quite believe it. I didn't understand it. I sort of vaguely remembered something. I knew my fear had always been about being a bag person, but I didn't know on a conscious level what was going on. That day, I went home after my session and I talked to my mother and I said, did this ever happen? She goes, oh, yes, but it didn't happen like that. She said, you were throwing up all over the backseat of the car. Your father dropped us off at the park and he went to find a car wash to wash out the inside of the car. She says, but that is when I found out that you were afraid of Black people. And I went, what? In her mind, the derelict on the street behind us, whose odor I could smell, who was sleeping on the sidewalk, and that's what terrified me. She thought it was because he was a Black person and I wasn't familiar with Black people. I didn't even realize that he was a Black person. I just thought he was dead, he stank, and that was going to happen to my mother and I next. And that memory was locked in my shoulder for 30, 40 years. Once we removed that memory, literally within that 1 hour session, my arm could then move up and down. I no longer had frozen shoulder, which was so interesting because my chiropractor thought he'd have to break my arm. But fear is a very, very interesting energy. And our society actually perpetrates more fear. All our TV shows, all the stories we read, all the commercials we watch, everything instills this energy of fear and anxiousness and apprehensiveness, this cautious, clammy, almost cowardice. It's the opposite of being courageous. It's a lack of trust. It's a feeling of not trusting anything, of doubting yourself, of being really, really defensive, and just being in a constant state of dread. How many of you have had a feeling of foreboding? where the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you just know something not right, it may occur. Fear can make us hesitate. Fear can be greater than fear. It could be absolute horrified. We can get very hysterical because the body goes into a shock reaction, a fight or flight reaction. It wants to run. We can feel very inhibited and we start suppressing ourselves and not allowing ourselves to, inhibiting ourselves is the way we want. We start judging ourselves as doing something wrong and not allowing ourselves the freedom to be ourselves. Fear can be really irrational sometimes. It can just run amok like a virus and be crazy in your mind. It can create nausea. It can create anxiety, the thumping in your chest, the raise of blood pressure, this nervousness, a sense of panic, or it can paralyze us. Okay, men and women respond to fear very, very differently. Men, when they are fearful, actually are ready to, we say fight or flight. Okay, they're ready to fight the dinosaur or they're ready to run away to safety. Women handle fear very, very differently. Women start over nurturing everyone else. So I want you to imagine for a minute, we're cavemen, okay? We live in a cave. A saber-toothed tiger is at the front of the cave and it's very hungry. The men pull out their spears and they go there to fight the saber-toothed tiger, and they're going to be busy because now we find out there's a whole, is it a herd? A pride of saber-toothed tigers is out there waiting to eat all these humans. The women, on the other hand, will gather up all the children and gather up food supplies and sneak out the back entrance of the cave. We have to keep the children quiet so that the saber-toothed tigers don't find us, don't follow us. And we have to keep everybody calm so the scent of fear doesn't attract the predators. Women can also, like a possum, play dead. So in a rape situation or something, we'll get mad at ourselves. Why didn't I fight back? But it's because you just want it over with. You sort of disassociate from your body. You go somewhere else and let the body endure, and then we come back and deal with it later. So we have very different ways of reacting to fear. When the mind latches onto fear, it starts playing that on a hamster wheel. You start worrying about all the other case scenarios of what is going to go on. Worry is actually a meditation. It's meditating on negative outcomes. Worry is you resting your attention on fiction, because usually what we worry about doesn't happen, but it sure drives us crazy. It is suffering over and over and over again because we're playing all these different scenarios in our head. When we're worrying, it's a great way of tapping into your body and realizing or asking, what is it I'm trying to escape from right now? What is going on here? Where do I feel trapped or threatened? Often people say shyness is a type of fear. My shyness when I was a child, I was very quiet. It was because I was always assessing the threat. I lived in a very violent household and I had to know when it was safe for me to use my voice or when I had to be invisible and disappear into the woodwork. Stage fright can be the fear of being judged or criticized or not approved of. What else is there? I don't know. I'm sure we can think of a few other flavors of fear. And in fear, it might be that we want to strike out, that we want to fight, but we think we can't, or the risk is too great, or we will be attacked harder, or repercussions for our family and ourselves will be worse. When we're fearful, we often want to reach out, but we don't, because we think we'll be rejected or refused or abandoned or disapproved of, or that nobody can help us. And in fear, fear is actually a very interesting energy, because fear, we usually run towards, or pardon me, run away from a fear. So actually fear gives us a lot of energy. We can just chug along and race away and go on, or we can run towards a fear and burst through it. It's like wanting to leap off a cliff to get to the other side. And you run up to the edge of the cliff and then you stop and you walk back. And then you decide, well, I'm going to do it again. And you tie and you eventually take a leap. And that is very powerful for you to step into. Fear has a lot more energy than grief or apathy or shame or guilt or waiting and wanting. So if we're going to be in any energy, let's be in fear, but I'd rather we moved up the scale, okay? Because even fear is very contracting energy, and it shuts us down. It keeps us in survival mode instead of thriving. What else can we say about fear? When we're in fear, okay, our thoughts are on destruction and doom, that our life is over, that we are in constant danger. All we can think about is how we're going to get hurt, or what we're going to lose, or how we're going to protect those around us. So if you're in fear, we need to put your hand on your heart, your hand on your belly. We're going to learn how to ask empowering questions of our body. And one of the simplest questions I want you to start practicing today is, oh, this emotion that I'm feeling, this sensation that I'm feeling, this thought I just had in my head, is it mine? Is it mine seems so simplistic and so silly, but it's like pushing a computer diagnostic on your body to run a virus scan or look for the Trojan or whatever malware has been deposited. So fear can be malware. That's a great way of describing it. Fear is an energy where you feel unsafe and uncertain and uneasy. And it's very pervasive. We can get stuck in it. If you look at the music of today is in a frequency band of vibration that installs fear and depression. If you listen to Taylor Swift's music or songs, she can have a really funky, happy tune, and the lyrics can be really horrible. Like there was one about being abandoned somewhere in a field by some guy she was dating or whatever, and not having any hope. And it was like, ugh, this is awful. But the melody was wonderful. Or you will find that a melody is very sad and dangerous or depressed sounding, but the lyrics will be positive. So it's kind of a mind bend what we do out there. So watch what you're putting into your mind. Watch how you're receiving information and if it makes you feel uneasy. I like that word uneasy. I'm just writing it down for future reference here. Where is it that you have felt afraid? Or just check your body right now. Take a couple of big deep breaths. By the way, you cannot be fearful and yawn at the same time. If you're breathing deeply, you cannot be afraid. So when you're afraid, you're actually holding your breath, you're limiting your breath, you're taking shallow breaths, you're taking fast, shallow breaths, and that actually makes fear worse. So if you're noticing that you're feeling fearful, you ask your body this rhetorical question, is it mine? And you let your 80 trillion cells run a computer diagnostic on you, and like popcorn, they will get rid of some of the fear. And you can ask that question over and over and over again. We'll go into more empowering questions day after tomorrow. I think for now, that gives you enough to think about. Let's go back into gratitude. Let's allow ourselves to expand out. In fact, I would like you right now to just, if you can, stand up. There we go. Adjust the camera here. And stretch. Really stretch. Get rid of some of these heavy emotions that you put in your body. Allow yourself to wiggle. Be a kid. Just go from side to side or stretch up and over. Or maybe run on the spot or wiggle your hips. Just get back into your body and let your body be happy. And now think of something that made you happy. Okay? And think of something else that makes you happy. And think of something else that makes you happy. And is your happy 2 inches big, 12 inches big, 2 feet wide? Is it bigger than the room that you're in? Allow yourself to get happy, 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 and just say yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Did your mood raise? Good. Keep saying yes. All right. If you're ready for more, there we go. Pull my chair back up. If you're ready for more, I'm going to pause this video and we're going to discuss anger. Anger is a fascinating energy. Anger is a way of gathering your power, pulling it up through your root chakra, up into your body so that you can make a change. Unfortunately, a lot of people use anger like a machine gun and mow everybody down in their way. So let's let go of the idea of fear. Your mind is caught up with what your body knows how to feel. And let's go to the next step. All right? See you in the next video.